plane crash which killed former Chief of Army Staff was not an accident. Retired General revealed. Oh boy. So they know about this plane crash, and I think then General Tukur Buratai was the Chief of Defense Staff that was under Buhari's government. This incident occurred sometime in 2021, but investigation is still very cloudy up till now. Now, another retired Army General is revealing something here. Let's get into the details. Retired Major General Danjuma Ali Kefi, former General Officer commanding GOC of 1 Division of Nigerian Army, has raised serious concerns about the fatal air crash that claimed the life of former Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru and 11 other senior military officers. Oh boy. So in an exclusive interview with This Day, Ali Kefi contends that the crash is intricately linked to terror financiers, urging President Bola Tinubu to launch an immediate investigation into the incident. Ali Kefi, who exposed these reservations about the official investigation, alleges a deliberate suppression of the critical details surrounding the crash. He emphasized that the full report of the investigation has not been disclosed to the public, adding an air of suspicion to the circumstances leading up to the tragic incident. So the retired general asserts that Atahiru was pivotal in formulating strategies to eradicate terrorism in northern Nigeria. Ali Kefi contends that the late Army Chief's effort to tackle terrorism extended to exposing and neutralizing terror financiers. So in a detailed account of the event leading to the crash, Ali Kefi raises questions about the abrupt changes in the scheduled trip, alterations in the choice of aircraft, and modifications in the landing airport. Can you imagine? So he points to a sequence of unusual events, including the aircraft descent in stormy weather, a delayed departure, and an ear-shattering explosion before the actual crash, casting doubt on the official narratives. Ali Kefi explained about 2100 hours on Thursday, 20th May 2021, I spoke on phone with the Chief of Staff to the late Chief of Army Staff regarding their impending trip to Kaduna the following day, 21st of May 2021. So I had earlier spoken with General Tahiru on the same issue. So we ended our conversation on the note that the late Chief of Army Staff and entourage would come by flight at about 10 a.m. The following day. After about 6:30 a.m. the following morning, I called the Chief of Army Staff to the late Chief of Staff to the late Chief of Army Staff to confirm if their travel plan was as well discussed the night before, as I needed to make arrangements for the mosque that the Chief of Army Staff would attend Jumat on Friday prayers. The Chief of Staff informed me that there was a change of plan. He said after we finished speaking last night, they received a message that the late Chief of Army Staff was to attend a meeting either at the Honorable Minister of Defense office or at the Presidential Villa at about 10 a.m. on Friday, 21 May 2021. And after the late Chief of Army Staff was to attend in person and not send a representative. Can you imagine? So it is important to note that the late Chief of Army Staff trip to Kaduna was part of his visit to Zaria to attend the passing out parade at the depot Nigerian Army slated for Saturday, 22 May 2021. So it is worth noting that the movement of the service chiefs out of station Abuja is with the prior knowledge of the Chief of Defense Staff, the Honorable Minister of Defense, and the Presidency. So why was a meeting scheduled for about the same time that the late Chief of Army Staff was to have departed for or arrived Kaduna, and why the insistence that the Chief of Army Staff should not be represented? So in any case, the Chief of Staff informed me that in view of the meeting, they would depart the Flag House, official residence of the Chief of Army Staff, at about 15:30 hours after attending the meeting and also after the Jumat prayers for the airport. So they expected to arrive the airport at about 1600 hours, board the aircraft at about 1610, 1615 hours, and then depart for Kaduna. So at about 1600 hours, I was informed that they had arrived the presidential wing of the airport. I then set off from the Stallion House, official residence of the General Officer Commanding, with my entourage in a convoy and arrived the Air Force Base at about 1615 hours. For reasons that I cannot understand till today, the flight was delayed for over an hour and did not take off until 1730 hours or thereabout. The reason for the delay, as I was informed, was that there was issue with the aircraft that was initially assigned for the mission to convey the Chief of Army Staff and his entourage, and that it had to be changed. Ali Kafi also disclosed meantime there was a meteorological alert that Kaduna airspace was going to experience heavy rainfall accompanied with the storm wind shear, and it was advised already the cloud had formed in Kaduna, which was visible to us at the airport. As a matter of fact, the cloud was so thick, which was indicative of a massive storm. So I began to nurse doubt about the flight. At some point, I voiced my doubt to Air Commodore Iyamu and Air Commodore Ilo, who were with me to receive the Chief of Army Staff. So I even suggested that they should advise Abuja of weather conditions with a view to having the flight cancelled. At that point, I was informed that the aircraft was airborne at about 1745 hours. I became concerned as to whether the aircraft would be able to land at the airport in such a heavy rainfall with storm. The rain had started falling there. Thus, I was not surprised when Air Commodore Ilo informed me that we had gone to the Civil International Airport as the Nigerian Air Force runway was not long enough to enable the aircraft land under the atrocious weather conditions. We then set off to the international airport, but at a snail's speed due to the heavy rainfall, which was accompanied with shale ice particles. So the former Chief General Officer Commanding said, when we got to the vicinity of the airport, there was a thunderous sound, which I thought was the sound of thunder. We had earlier sighted what I believe was the aircraft descending to land on this runway. When we turned the bend to enter the tarmac, the thought on my mind was that the aircraft had touched ground down and was taxiing to the parking area. I couldn't see any aircraft on the runway. I frantically looked around, and by the far side of the runway, there was a fireball. So it was the aircraft conveying General Atahiru. So we got out the vehicles across the runway and approached the burning aircraft. Firefighters were on hand to put out the blaze. At some point, we had to pull back due to the fear of exploding cylinders. So we later recovered the corpses of the 10 passengers on board the ill-fated plane, far from where the plane wreckage was apparently. Apparently, their bodies, which were on fire, were flung from the aircraft before it came down, already in flames. Furthermore, the aircraft, or what was left of it, at least what I could recollect, was on a relatively flat grassland. So there was no crater. There was indicative of a mild air explosion. So what caused the aircraft to explode? I wonder what the Air Safety and Accident Investigation Bureau report says about the incident. Ali Kefi further queried, was the flight deliberately delayed in order to be caught up in the rainstorm? Was the aircraft sabotaged, which caused it to explode mid-air? Was the explosion caused by explosives? Was a bomb planted in the aircraft or contained in a parcel, which a passenger unknowingly or knowingly carried? So these are the big questions that I have to answer. So General Ali Kefi retired is bringing all of this issue around the death of General Atahiru Ibrahim. And this is a very serious one that this man is bringing out. And now they are calling on Tinubu to launch a better investigation into this matter, because the death of Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru is not normal. The aircraft crashing was not normal. A lot of changes in the itinerary were not normal. The weather was not normal. So even the program that was scheduled at the Aso Rock, which the late general was to be represented, and the change that he must attend it in person and not represented, was also not normal. A lot of things there, more into it than meet the eyes. Wow. So let me take a few comments because of time. Somebody said, many questions begging for answers. This is not strange. Our people can go at any length, killing hundreds just because of they want to get rid of one person. So one thing I know is that about 700 years coming, that generation will not be able to know if we once existed on this planet Earth. Okay, this crash was a plan work of some corrupt northerners who do not want terrorism to stop. They planned the killing of that great man. He did not use wisdom. Okay, may his soul rest in perfect peace. Okay, we all know he was killed. He wanted to open their nyash, so they need to silence him. Nonsense country. Nigeria needs divine intervention. This country is rapidly dying. And that is it. Thank you, sir, for coming out with these revelations, terrible as they are. The onus is on Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government to carry out detailed investigation to ascertain the veracity of these links. Okay, this must not be suppressed or swept under the carpet as usual. Already, don't go finish now. There's nothing anybody is going to do about it. It's a very terrible one. So, Che, Nigeria, how long will this continue? Atiko Eramero, I don't understand that language. Tuko Buratai knows exactly what happened to Atahiru. There is nothing anybody will tell me. Abi? We all know that the man was killed. So everybody is having the same notion because of the way the crash took place. So thank you for listening. Let's have a comment over this revelation that retired General Ali Kefi is bringing up to the table over the death of late Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Ibrahim Atahiru.